So, it'll be interesting to understand some of the underlying philosophies behind behind Gita or behind all the stuff that we study spirituality. Because in India, we have very rich tapestry of philosophies. Like, I mean, the West also has, but nothing like we have in India. And they're much older and have gone much farther and deeper. So, in general, if you think about this, if you think about philosophy, you'll see there are, very broadly speaking, there are three kinds. What people realized is that there is this jagat, hamara, things which are not alive, like rocks and mountains, this world, even our body. Our body isn't really, after we die, the body is still there, but there's nothing in it. It's just jada. Jada means insentience, insentient. Yeah? There's no life. But there is something which is which brings life. When we are, अगर हम मैं alive हूँ अभी इस समय, it's the same body. There's something when it's present, I'm alive, and you can see it, you can feel it. And if I die tomorrow, it'll be the same body. You won't see any difference. The moment of death, there is no difference. Same eyes, same heart, same everything. But something is missing, something is gone, right? And I'm no longer alive. Now suddenly I'm dead. I'm just like dead matter, just like any other piece of earth. And that's what happens. You put it on earth or it's jilao it, whatever. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, right? So people notice this, that there is something which is there, which brings life. And when that thing is not there, there is no life. So they divided the whole idea of this world, the whole idea of philosophy, into two parts. They said one part is all of this matter, which is dead. And even our body is part of that in a way, right? Because हमारी जो body बनती किससे है? It is made out of food that we eat. It's the same carbon and iron and nitrogen, all the stuff which you find everywhere else. Our body is made from all of these elements. So all of these things, the whole Jagat and our body combined is one part. And for simplicity's sake, let's call it matter. Okay? Matter usually is dead. And there's another part which we don't understand at all, but we can feel it. We may not be able to see it. We can't touch it, but we can feel its presence. Because when that thing is there, things get alive. When it's not there, we die. So that thing they called spirit, right? So there's matter, stuff which you can feel, touch, see, you can manipulate, you can do anything, all that you can do, but there's no life. And then there's spirit, stuff that's full of life, energy, power, all of that. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, you can't manipulate it. You have no idea whether it's there or not there. You just know its effects. You just know that the effect of it is to bring life. So these are the two things, matter and spirit. And people started thinking about it, what is this? So some of the earliest philosophies जो हमारी इंडिया में थी, they're called Sankhya. There was a Sankhya philosophy. आपने सुना होगा इसका नाम सांख्या का. So Sankhya philosophy made this distinction. And it said that there is matter, which is its own reality. There is spirit, which is its own reality. When the two come together, when the two combine, you have life. This is Sankhya's way of thinking. Matter, उसका कहा कि सारा, it also did this. It didn't say that there are so many different kinds of matter. It said all the matter can be traced down. If you break up everything down, it's the same particles, matter particle. But science भी यही कहती है, by the way. साइंस भी यही कहती है कि everything is down to सारे atoms हैं, nucleus है, protons हैं. We are all different combinations. Sankhya also said the same thing many thousands of years ago. It said all this matter जो हमको अलग अलग दिख रहा है, We are seeing this body, we are seeing the table, we are seeing chair, we are seeing different rocks, we are seeing wood, we are seeing everything, all the different things we are seeing. They are all basically composed of the same thing, but they're different combinations of it. And they call the same ultimate thing, they call it Paramanu or the Prakriti. They call it Prakriti. Okay? So everything is made out of Prakriti. Prakriti is the most basic thing, but everything which is dead is made out of Prakriti. And they said everything that is alive, which is we call spirit, that also is made out of something called Purusha. They called it Purusha. Prakriti, Purush. These are the two categories. And they said that Purusha is infinite consciousness, and maybe other details too. But the main thing to remember about this is that they first made this distinction between these two things, okay? Spirit and matter. And then other philosophies came because they said, we don't understand this. How can matter, which is its own reality, and spirit, which is its own reality, how do they combine? Spirit should just pass through matter because there's no interaction between them. They're different things. How can you say they combine in a human being? How do they combine and become life? So they said, no, this is not correct. Ultimately, there has to be one thing. Either there has to be matter or there has to be spirit. Everything has to be formed from one because we see them together. We see them working on each other. You can't combine two completely different things which have no connection with each other. So two streams formed. One is the one which says matter is the predominant thing. Everything is matter. Everything starts from matter. That means spirit, जो हम कहते हैं हमारी consciousness है, that is just a form of matter. If matter is arranged in particular ways, suddenly life comes up. So spirit or life emerges from a combination of matter. This, because they said matter is prime, this is called materialistic philosophies. You heard na materialistic? That means they are predominantly, they say matter is the predominant thing. And science, जो हमारी science है, is based on a materialistic concept. They don't fully say that, they don't understand how spirit comes out of matter. But science says if you have to look at reality, then then go and analyze matter. So सारा कुछ science यही करती रहती है. It does it experiments. Its experiments are done on matter. They don't do their experiments on spirit. They don't even recognize spirit, right? All scientific experiments, all scientific study is done on matter. Everything we do. So that is one side, materialistic. And India also has a materialistic philosophy that's called Charvaka, which you may have heard of or not. But anyway, so that's materialistic side. Then another stream of philosophy said, no, you cannot have, there is no way that matter can generate something like spirit, because spirit is more subtle than matter. Spirit is the one that sees matter. That is, there's more subtlety there. So you can't have that. Actually, spirit is the main thing. And spirit generates matter. And because this is spirit is the main thing, guess what these are called? Just like matter is called materialistic, what do you think spirit wala will be called? You know the word. It's called spirituality. Right? Spirituality is that set of philosophies which says spirit is the main thing. Everything is spirit. And our interest is in the spiritual philosophies. That is what we usually are thinking about and study. And a lot of the Indian philosophies that we study or we know about are all spiritual philosophies, meaning they all say that spirit is the main thing. जब हम कहते हैं भगवान is the spirit. It's the supreme spirit. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it. That creates the world. That's spirituality. Because some spirit being has created everything. That is the start of it. So Vedanta is also a spiritual philosophy. So Sankhya is fundamentally different. Sankhya says there is matter and spirit. Science and such philosophies are different. They say matter predominates and matter creates the spirit. If you look at an atheist today, or you talk to most people who are not spiritual, that is what they will say. They say, भगवान भगवान हमको नहीं पता, कौन है कहाँ है हमें नहीं पता. We can know only what we see. And we see the matter, we can study matter, we can do all this. Somehow matter must have created the what we call alive, what we call this Atma or spirit. Somehow it must have created, but they've never been able to find out why and how. They have no clue because there's a big jump from matter to being alive to spirit is a big jump. But that is another part. And then the parts which we are drawn towards are more spirituality, which is spirit is the main thing. That is what is always present, is always there. Spirit never goes away. It is always there. And it shows up as matter. Now, within spirituality, okay, so far so good. This broad categories we understand. So we know spirituality, and now let's focus on spirituality. Okay. So within spirituality, we have Vedanta, our most precious philosophy, our most studied, the most storied, the deepest philosophy, the most popular also you can say. Correct, Vedanta. And Vedanta also has, broadly speaking, three parts. Now, by the way, before I go into Vedanta, yoga. Yoga is based on the Sankhya philosophy. Just so you know. So yoga and Sankhya, they go together, Sankhya Yoga. A lot of Ayurveda is based on Sankhya philosophy. Ayurveda thinks that if you study Ayurveda, you'll see it'll say this. It'll say this body is real. All the things that are happening are real. This is matter. And your Atma is also real. Your spirit is also real. And the two influence each other. So Ayurveda is whole based on that. There's just a matter of interest. Okay. Anyway, so let's go back to Vedanta. So broadly, I mean, people say there are 6 schools of Vedanta, which is true. In fact, there are more than 6 even. But there are broadly 3 major schools of Vedanta, which are the big buckets. So one school of Vedanta is called Dvait. Dvait means two. So now this is on spirituality. So it says, yes, spirituality, but there is something separate called Bhagwanji, called Paramatma, God, Godhead. There is something called God, Ishwar, Bhagwan, whatever you want to call it. Paramatma. Let's call it Paramatma. Param means सबसे ऊपर, सबसे ज़्यादा. So Param Atma, Paramatma, the biggest Atma, the highermost Atma. सबसे परम है, सबसे ऊपर है. So that is one. And then there is some छोटी छोटी आत्मास, which is us. So आपकी आत्मा है, हम सबकी अपनी अपनी आत्मा है, मेरी भी आत्मा है. और हम क्या चाहते हैं? हम चाहते हैं हमारा गोल इज कि हमारी आत्मा और भगवान की आत्मा का मिलाप हो. We want to become like God. We want to become closer and closer to God. You'll see this rampant. Dvaita is a very popular philosophy in India. A lot of religions, I mean, most religions, most things are based on Dvaita. Because Dvaita says there is a God. I am not that God, but there is a God. They call it God, but it's a spirit, a universal spirit. You can give it any form you want, or you don't give it form. Like some religions, like Hinduism, give it lots of forms, like Vishnu, Shiva, this and that. Some religions, like Islam, say there is no form. Even Christianity says there is no form. Jesus is the Son of God. The God is formless. So there is this supreme power called God, and then there is me, an Atma, and everybody else has also got their own Atma, and our job is to become better and better and better, cleaner and cleaner, so that we can get closer and closer to God. We can never become one with God because God is infinite. I am finite, but I can become closer and closer and closer to God, better and better and better. The closer I go to God, the more God will take care of me. More God will love me, the more God will help me, and the more happy I will be, the happier I'll be. So that is the idea of Dvaita. And you'll see behind everything that you have read so far, before we talked about Gita's, Advait and all. This is the predominant thought. हमारे को हमारे पूर्वज क्या सिखा के गए हैं? Our parents, what are the teachers? They say भगवान है, भगवान के रूप में बनो, अच्छे बनो, improve yourself so that you become. They may not say that you become closer to God, but the idea is that improve yourself. You are your own self. Improve it, and God will take care of you because you'll become more and more like God. वो तो बहुत, he's a very godly man. They say ना, we say very godly man. He is like, so that's the intrinsic nature. This is how we think. It's seeped into us. This is Dvait. So what is not seeped into us? Sankhya is not seeped. Maybe Sankhya, maybe even. Materialism is not seeped into us. We are Indians, right? So we have been brought up in our own religious philosophies or because of influences from childhood. So we are not, materialism is typically, you won't find it. You won't find anybody saying भगवान तो है ही नहीं, सब कुछ matter है. There are people like that, mainly in the West. India में भी हैं, but not us. Most people are saying भगवान है, अलग है. और तुम अलग हो, try to become like God. So this Dvait philosophy of Vedanta is a very popular philosophy, even if you don't study philosophy. Even if you're not doing anything, this is sort of our mental makeup. Then there is something called Vishisht Advait. Vishisht Advait is, you can say, the next step deeper, if you want to call it that. Vishisht Advait is the philosophy by Ramanujan. ये द्वैत जो थी, it was promulgated by a chap called Madhavacharya. And सबसे पुरानी थी अद्वैत. उसके बाद आई विशिष्ट अद्वैत, उसके बाद आई द्वैत. But it's still, all of them are quite old. Then Vishisht Advait says that there is no separate God and me. There is only God, one God, and we are all part of God. हम सारे जो हैं भगवान का हिस्सा हैं. This is a very interesting philosophy because the example it gives is of a tree. पेड़ होता है ना? So if you have a tree, now in a tree, there is a leaf, there are flowers, there are branches, right? There are petals of flower. There are all kinds of things in a tree. When I say tree, when you think of tree, you think about the whole thing as a tree, right? Everything. Tree is full of petals and branches and everything, but it's one combined unit called a tree. But I can take out a leaf from the tree. I can pluck a leaf and show you that leaf. Now, what is that leaf? Is that a tree? You won't call it a tree. अगर मैं आपको leaf दूंगा तो आप उसको tree तो नहीं कहोगे. You'll say it's a leaf. But if I tell you this leaf is nothing but a tree, you'll say, okay, yeah, I can understand the concept because this leaf was in the tree. You just plucked it from the tree and showed it to me. There's nothing but without there was no tree, there'll be no leaf also. All these leaves put together with branches, we call it a tree. But individually also there is a separate leaf. So depending on your point of view, you can say I'm an individual, like a leaf, or you can say I'm a tree, like God. Or I can say I'm God, like a tree. Right? Because what is God? There is there's nothing separate called God. We are all together part of this universe. We are all these souls, everything all together as a system. The whole system is called God. So to say that I am separate from God is not right. But to say that I'm God is also not right. So they give this philosophy which is called Vishishtadvaita. In the South, it's a very popular philosophy. Ramanujan is from the South. All these guys somehow are from the South. North Indians, so I think we just get drunk and be happy. That's what we do.
Charvaka theory.
Huh? What theory?
They believe in Charvaka philosophy.
Charvaka
Drink and
philosophy,
be
exactly. Yeah, we believe in
only
Charvaka
drink and be
philosophy.
merry.
True. Let's just enjoy. So, so, so this is what they say. Okay, individuals are like a little tree. We are Bhagwan also and we are individual also. Kind of makes sense. But then उसके बाद आए उसके बाद मतलब इसके बाद नहीं आए Shankaracharya is the oldest. But Shankaracharya and his predecessors, they promulgated Advait. And Advait now is also, you heard about it. And I'll show you how. Advait says
Mhm.
that all there is God. There's nothing but God. Everything you touch, everything you see is God. You yourself are nothing but God. So in reality, okay, Meeta is going to join. Hold on one sec. So in reality, there is only God. भगवान सब जगह है. Hi, Meeta.
Hi, sorry, I'm late.
No, no, it's okay. Doesn't matter.
Sorry,
Good.
my cook wasn't there. I
You
was
know,
just
we,
giving dinner to everybody.
we've recorded, so you can listen to the previous part. So we were talking about
Okay,
philosophies today. You
sure,
know,
sure.
the different philosophies of India and how we look at different philosophies, look at the same world and us differently. So it's very interesting. You should listen to it when you if you have a moment.
I will.
So so I was talking about Advait, right? So Advait says there is only God.
Yeah.
और कुछ नहीं है. And this world is just an appearance. Actually, this world is, and it's like a dream. जब आप रात को सोते हो और यू ड्रीम, आपको सपना आता है, तो उस सपने में यू डोंट थिंक आई एम इन अ ड्रीम, राइट? इन द ड्रीम you think this is actual happening. Is that right?
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
say you're in the dream, if you, let's say, win the lottery, okay, you'll be very happy. You'll be as happy as if you had won the lottery in real life. And in the dream, if somebody, hits you in your leg, you'll feel pain, as much pain as you feel in real life. There is no difference. In the dream, also, you're anxious. Or something bad is going to happen, you'll be very anxious. Something good is happening, you're getting a lot of sensual pleasure, you will feel the pleasure. Every everything in the dream is, when you're in the dream, it's like actually happening. But is it actually happening? When you wake up, you realize, oh, that was just a dream. That was not really happening. And Advait Vedanta says this is how we are also. In a way, I mean, very loosely speaking, don't take me exactly on these things, but very loosely speaking, as an analogy, we are in a dream. And this dream is life. And in this life, we are caught up in this dream. In this dream, we are angry, we are happy, we've got money, we've not got money. Everything is dramatized in this dream. It's a drama. All huge emotions, this emotion, that emotion, emotion of loss, emotion of gain. सब कुछ हो रहा है इस dream में. We are caught in this dream. But actually, it's just a dream. In reality, we are Bhagwan. Nothing is really happening to us. It's just our feeling that all these things are happening. And when those things are happening, we cannot think of anything else. Just like in a dream. But people who have known, who understand, who are gyanis, they realize it. And they can live in this life knowing that and internalizing that this is a dream. In other words, knowing that they are fine. कुछ नहीं होगा उनको. They will be shant. They will not let this world affect them. It's like, the difference between, when enjoying a movie. Sometimes you go to watch a movie. We even want to watch a horror movie. Yeah, we watch tear jerkers. Why would we want a movie जिसमें हमको दुख हो रहा है? जहाँ पे हमको उनका जो लवर्स हैं, द प्रेमी एंड द प्रेमिका, द हीरो हीरोइन बिछड़ रहे हैं, उनसे कोई the world is coming in their way, they can't get married, and all these crying and everything is happening. We still enjoy the movie. Sometimes we see action movies, people are getting killed and all that. We still enjoy it. We get involved in the movie. We kind of personalize it also. We kind of see ourselves in the movie. कभी कभी मूवी में हीरो को दुख होता है तो मैं सोचता हूँ मेरे को दुख हो रहा है, जैसे दैट्स व्हाई आई एंजॉय इट. या आप देखोगे हीरोइन को बहुत समाज सता रहा है, यू रिमेंबर योर टाइम व्हेन योर समाज वाज सताइंग यू. Yeah, you having problems with your बहू, you can see कि वो मेरी भी बहू के साथ problems होती हैं और इस मूवी में भी हो रही हैं. So that is how you relate and enjoy. But you enjoy because back of your mind you know it's a movie. It's just a movie. Okay? If it was happening in real life, you wouldn't be enjoying it. So in the back of your mind, you know it's a movie, but you're still enjoying the movie. That's the state of a jnani. In the back of their mind, they know that this is not going to affect me. These are the dramas of life. This is the dream. But they still enjoy the life. In fact, they enjoy it more because they can get into it, knowing fully well that हमको कोई effect नहीं होगा. कभी कभी मैं सोचता हूँ, sometimes if I used to go to Chandni Chowk and all that, दिल्ली में, या दरिया वो क्या था वो दरीबा कलान and all. अब तो खैर अच्छा हो गया है. When I was young, it was full of dirt and filth and मेरा तो like क्या कहते हैं ब्रीदिंग प्रॉब्लम हो जाती थी because मेरे को एलर्जीज होती थी उससे. So you go there and all it's actually very beautiful. You can enjoy it. But if I'm sitting in an AC car, right, and through the windows I look, I can very much enjoy all of that. Because I can participate in a way in what's going on and enjoy it, but I know that it's not going to affect me. कितनी भी गंदी बात हवा है, अंदर मेरी एसी से अच्छी हवा आ रही है. So it's kind of like that. You enjoy your life, enjoy everything, but you know at the same time you are safe, you are okay. This this dream that we call is called Maya. This world of a dream is called Mithya. राइट. आपने सुना होगा माया और मिथ्या का नाम. लोग कहते हैं ना ये तो सब माया है, ईश्वर की लीला है. लीला मीन्स व्हाट? अ प्ले, अ ड्रीम, अ मूवी. सो ये ईश्वर की लीला है, ये माया है. दिस इज ऑल अद्वैत. People may not understand exactly what they're saying, but they say it anyway. Yeah. So this is Advait. ईश्वर जिसकी माया है, जो ईश्वर, वो माया नहीं है, वो सच है. That is Satyam. That's called Satyam. The Maya is the world, and all this body and my sense of me and all this is all Maya. This is the Mithya, the dream. The Satyam is the Ishwar. And Vedanta says you are Ishwar. In essence, you're Ishwar. You're the same Ishwar who is as if in a dream thinking that you become this person and you are enjoying this world. You're going through the ups and downs of this world. But when you are born in this world, the way you're born, you've been given ignorance. That means you are not aware of the fact that you are actually Ishwar. You're actually untouchable. You're not aware of this. You think that all I am is this body. Because you think like that, you suffer. Because, how will you not suffer? Can you imagine this world, this universe, huge universe? पता नहीं क्या क्या हो रहा है. उसमें एक छोटी सी अर्थ, राइट? उस अर्थ में एक छोटे से आप, you know, completely dependent upon circumstances. Totally dependent. आप कितना भी सोच लो कि मैं अपनी जिंदगी को मैं ये करूंगी, अपने हिसाब से ये सोच रहे हो, यू आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग. बट कल को एक अर्थक्वेक आएगा एंड यू आर गॉन. कुछ लाइक इट्स वी नो दिस एट द बैक ऑफ माई माइंड. We tell ourselves, I am in control in my life. I will plan. I will do this. मैं ये करूंगा, मैं ये करूंगी, मैं अच्छी बनूंगी, मैं बुरी बनूंगी. ये सब हम सोचते हैं. We plan. This is the story we tell ourselves. This is how we live. But once in a while something happens. A person just pops like that. Then you realize, oh my God. Like in that moment, it's called Shamshan Vairagya. When you go to the Shamshan. Because you realize that nothing really is in your control. This is just a story I'm giving myself that I'm in my control. Deep down, deep down, deep down, we all realize it. Because we realize it, we suffer. We put covers on it. We don't think about it. We don't accept, we can accept it if somebody tells you, but somehow we don't accept it. We deny it. And we make plans and we do everything and we engage in this world and we forget about it. but it's there deep inside. And it cannot be gone. You can't remove it. That creates the anxiety. That creates the stress. That creates the suffering. Sometimes वो उभर के सामने आ जाता है and you suffer openly. Sometimes वो छुपा रहता है. But that's because that is how we think. Because deep down we think we are just this body, little body and mind in this huge universe, which has nothing, which has nothing to do with us. It's like it has its own processes. Things are going on, and those things can one day or the other hit us. Vedanta says, no, that is not true. This whole thing is a dream. In reality, what you think is extinguish or death and all is just waking up from a dream. So anyway, these are the three philosophies. And I'm sure you must have heard of all three in different ways in your life. You'd have heard of Dvait, of course. Dvait is so common. Bhagwan alag hai, main alag hu, Bhagwan ki puja karo. You'd have heard of Vishishta Dvait, maybe not that much, but Vishishta Dvait ke I'm part of Bhagwan. And you would have heard of Advait, which says सब कुछ माया है, भगवान की लीला है. In reality, there is only God, right? So Gita supports all. That's the beauty of Gita. Gita even supports Sankhya. So whether you're Sankhya, believer of Sankhya, which means spirit is different, matter is different. Whether you're a believer of Dvait, whether you're a believer of Vishishta Dvait, whether you're a believer of Advait, you will find statements in the Gita which support what you're saying. So when you study Gita, that is another complexity of Gita. If you study Gita, एक जगह गीता कहेगी मैं कृष्ण भगवान हूं, सब मेरे पे छोड़ दो, मैं तुम्हारा बेड़ा पार करूंगा. Then if you're a Dvait, you'll say, oh yeah, the Gita is right, I'm a Dvait, then भगवान अलग है. Then Gita also says things like तुम ही ईश्वर हो. जब तुमको पता चल जाएगा कि तुम और मेरे में कोई फर्क ही नहीं है, right? That is thing. Then Advait will say, yeah, this ही look, that's what Gita is saying. तुम ही ईश्वर हो, तुम भी एक हो. इसी तरह से there are sayings in that about Vishishta Advait. It talks about this leaf and a tree. कि you are an अंश. It says आप मेरा एक अंश हो. भगवान कृष्ण कहते हैं अंश हो. Then Vishishta Advait says, see, look at that, right? So in a way, you can say पहले मैं सोचता था it's a weakness. ये क्या है यार? Like what is Gita saying? Now I realize it's including everybody. That's one reason why Gita is so popular. Everybody finds something. Even in fact, Gita's philosophy, when it talks about the creation, अभी next chapters में आएगा, the philosophy or the what it says about creation and the terms it uses is completely Sankhya. So it's about Sankhya also. Sankhya वाले भी कहते हैं हाँ गीता अच्छी है. So everybody loves Gita. It's like a mother or a parent, right? Every child, they can be completely different children. They can be totally different habits, different mentalities, everything. But for them, their mother is always my mother. They find peace in the mother. Regardless. It's the same thing with Gita. So that's why I wanted to just tell you this, so that you will hear so many interpretations about the Gita. The interpretation that we are going through is mainly it's Advait Vedanta. Simply because I know that, right? And that's what I believe in. That's what my parampara sort of has been. So that's what I'm teaching you. But I will also tell you about when it talks about Dvait, because you may not believe it in the end. That is totally fine. It's if you feel, no, for me, Bhagwan alag hai, main alag hu. That's what is only talking to you. Then go with that. Over time, you may change. Over time, you might say, no, actually, kya farak hai? Dono ek hi hain. That's different. That's okay. But it doesn't matter. The good thing is that what Gita tells you to do, actually do, is Karma Yoga. And that is common to all philosophies, everybody. They all say the first thing you have to do is to purify yourself. ये सब कहते हैं. This is common. अगर आप समझो मैं ईश्वर हूं या मैं ईश्वर का पार्ट हूं या मैं ईश्वर से अलग हूं, कुछ भी है, doesn't matter. Karma Yoga is the basic starting point for everything. So that's the good part. This fact that do your duty, do what is right without overly thinking about the result. That is the way to peace that everybody agrees. Like Sangeeta was saying in the right now, right? We were talking about it. I want to improve myself. I'm trying, but I'm not improving myself. No. Don't worry about whether you're improving yourself or not right now. Right now, you do the right thing. If you focus only on that, you will not be stressed. You know, like sometimes people say, अगर आपको रात को नींद नहीं आ रही, आप ज्यादा नींद के बारे में सोचोगे ना, वो नींद नहीं आ रही तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं आएगी. You get up and start doing something else, वो नींद आ जाएगी. That is how it works.
I have to say, in the minute I start doing any part, मेरे को नींद आ जाती है.
That's the best. Yeah, you don't need a sleeping pill.
Yeah. You're just 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes into it, and you start
मेरे को
yawning.
भी actually I used to listen जब मैं ये पढ़ रहा था ना, when I was like very deeply engaged in all this study, तब मैं दिन में 7-8 घंटे सुनता था lectures almost, you know, that was crazy. और रात को मैं सुनते सुनते सो जाता था. And I could, you know, if you're lying down and you're listening, you'll go to sleep. Standard.
Yeah, I was trying to practice meditation also, but I think even in meditation, after like 10, 15 minutes, I
Go
was
to sleep.
tending to fall asleep.
Yeah,
So-
because we are tired and, you know, we are, that's what happens. So anyway, so this is our overview of our different philosophies. And there are more. This is not all. There are more philosophies like Buddhism, Jainism. So there are, you know, there's Astic philosophies. Astic means, हम सोचते हैं Astic and Nastic means you believe in God or not. That is just one way of looking at it. In actual Indian literature, Astic means, do you believe in the Ved? And Nastic means, I don't believe in the Ved. So the Astic philosophies are called Hinduism philosophies. All this Vedanta, Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, these are all yoga. They all believe in the Ved. So they're Hinduism. But there are philosophies which don't believe in the Ved, like Buddhism, Jainism. They don't believe in Ved. वो कहते हैं हमारे अपने scriptures हैं. They're not put into Hinduism, generally speaking. They're not into what's called Sanatan Dharam. Sanatan Dharam is another name for Hinduism. But those are also there. And they're also very interesting. And they also say the same thing. Everybody says Karam Yog. They define it differently, but they say the same thing. Do the right thing.
And Arya Samajis will come in which category?
Arya Samajis, I think, are part of Hinduism, but they are more into rituals. You know, they are, if you go to Arya Samaji, वो हवन करेंगे and ये सब वो सब. मुझे इतना नहीं पता उनके बारे में, but they are very ritualistic.
आई थिंक वो फॉर्मलेस को करते हैं बिकॉज मूर्ति पूजा नहीं करते हैं वो ना,
हाँ, वो आइडल नहीं
वो
करते
आइडल वर्शिप नहीं मानते हैं.
हैं।
सो अल्टीमेटली
ओम
दे आर
में
आल्सो
बिलीव
वर्शिपिंग दैट एनर्जी बेसिकली, और लाइट जो भी हम कहें.
But they do
मतलब
believe in rituals, right? I mean, that's what I understood, that they have
या
हाँ,
रिचुअल्स बट
they
नो
do all that
फॉर्म.
and all.
no
हाँ
form. Yeah.
हाँ, नो फॉर्म.
So we
That is
have
that is actually, by the
Arya
way,
Samaji.
that is the fact of
Charu,
Hinduism. No form.
sorry.
Sorry.
Charu
Yeah,
is an Arya Samaji.
they believe in worshipping the elements, the fire, the water,
हाँ
and all these elements they worship, not the form, not the god as a form, as a murti puja. They don't believe in murti puja.
Oh, we have an expert, an actual practitioner of Arya Samaj. Nice. Okay. Any question on any of this or anything else? We've got a couple of minutes. Looking at the time. Yeah, so I mean the thing, you know, in Hinduism, Like somebody very interesting. Somebody asked, and this is what happened in one of Swami Dayanand's classes. Somebody asked this question. He said, ये आप foreigner था कि आप जो Hinduism है इतने सारे भगवान हैं. You got so many idols. He said, we have our religion. We worship only one God. There is only one God. But in your religion, in Hinduism, there are many gods. All of this. So actually, what Swami Dayanand's pupil told him, and he's now a Swami himself. He said, it's not that we have many gods. We don't believe that we believe there's only God. All there is God. So you can take anything and consider it God. You want to take a stone, just shaligram, just stone hota hai, that can be God. You want to take a murti, that can be God. You want to take a rakshas, a form of a rakshas, that can be God. You want to take, you can consider anything can be God because there is only God. All there is God.
Oh God.
That's what we believe in. It's not one God, many gods. It's only God.
Only God.
Yes. and
In
that's
every element, in everything, there is just one
everything.
God.
There is consciousness.
Ah,
There is spirit, and that is the God.
yeah.
And that's the truth of Hinduism. That's actually what Hinduism says.
Yeah.
All this representation of the murtis and all is just is a
They're all
representation.
symbolic, I think, all symbolic.
It's all symbolic, right? We need to find something that we can say, okay, all this God has somehow entered into this one thing, and that's something I can relate to, I can see, because human beings can't conceive of infinite things like God. But
But Hinduism must have so many, many, many gods. I don't think there will be a number to it, or anybody must know the number.
correct.
Because
That's what
when
I'm saying. So
when
you
we
can,
go to there's a Hindu temple which is open just opposite our house, and when I went there for the first time, I think half of them are like South Indian
South
gods.
Indian
I've
God,
never
right?
even heard their
Yeah,
names,
I know,
but
I know.
obviously people worship them, so that's why
Of
they're
course,
there.
yeah. But what the point that this person was trying to make was that it's not that we have many gods. We have anything, everything is God. There's only God. So we can take anything and consider it God, and we'll still be okay by Hinduism. You can take any object, anything, and say this is God, and that's allowed. As long as you put your feelings and everything right in there, and it's helping you, you can call it. So people don't do that. They have their own sort of groups, and they decide, okay, this is God, and this is the shape of God, and this is the form of God. But you can, we are happy to say everything is God. That's the point.
No, but when we, say कि जैसे हम जल को भी पूछते हैं,
Yeah.
अग्नि को भी पूछते हैं, तो we always, refer to them as जल देवता,
Yes. Yeah.
अग्नि देवता, वायु देवता. We never say भगवान, जल भगवान.
Correct.
So,
And that is another thing we should probably talk about another time, because that's a long topic in itself. In our structure, there's a hierarchy. Because we say, and when we talk about Ishwar, then we will explain this. Because we say that Ishwar or God is controlling everything, we break it down. It's like an organization. We say one individual is controlling everything, Bhagwan is controlling everything. So we break it down and say this is being controlled by this Devta. This is being controlled by this Devta. This is being controlled by this Devta. And those Devtas all report into Ishwar. You can think about it like that. So gods are, the Devtas are like demigods, or, they are reporting into God, in other words. I mean, if you want to go into a modern structure, that's how it is. So there is only one Vishnu, right? And the Vishnu ke niche there'll be all these Indras and all these Devatas and Jala Devta and Vayu Devta and all of that. They are all subservient, or they follow the laws laid down by Vishnu, for example, or by Hiranyagarbha or Ishwar. So these are all different sects organize these things a little differently. The Vaishnavas, they say Vishnu is the ultimate Godhead. The Shaivites, they say Shiva is the ultimate Godhead. So they organize it differently. Brahma is the ultimate Godhead. Vedanta says Brahman is the ultimate. So,
ultimate God.
right. So they are organized a little differently. but they are all organized, and the devtas report into them. And the devtas take care of separate things in this world. Like there's a Jalka Devta who will take care of Jal and rainfall and all that. And there's a Vayu Devta who takes care of the Vayu. There's a Agni Devta
Agni
who takes
Devta.
care of the Agnis. So, all these laws are the responsibility. They're like process owners. They're like responsibilities of these Devtas. So this is just a, you know, mythology, or, we are just trying to put structure. But from a
So does
Vedanta perspective, huh?
I have a question. So does Vedanta talk about all these divisions or gods as different forms in different forms?
So, actually, it's not. So, Vedant, you have to understand, Vedant is part of the Ved.
Hmm.
So, Ved के जो है, Ved में 90% of the Ved is talking about all these things only. So, Ved is the one that talks about all these gods in different forms. So, for example, in the Ved, um, the basic structure of the Ved is कि Ved is saying कि एक यजमान है, मैं हूं, मेरे को कुछ चाहिए, और डिपेंडिंग अपॉन क्या चाहिए, आई हैव टू फाइंड द राइट देवता. तो अगर मेरे को जल चाहिए, मेरे को बारिश चाहिए, रेनफॉल, देन आई विल फाइंड द देवता ऑफ रेनफॉल और जल. अगर मेरे को बेटा चाहिए, तो मैं उस पुत्र, जो जो द देवता हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर फर्टिलिटी, उसको पूजूंगा. अगर मुझे वेल्थ चाहिए, तो मैं उस देवता को पूजूंगा हु इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर वेल्थ. सो वेद सेज यू हैव ऑल दीज डिफरेंट देवतास, and you're a person, you want something, और कोई बला टले, कुछ भी चाहते हो तुम, you have to connect with that. And there is something called Agni Devta, Agni. You cannot directly approach Indra or any of these devtas and ask for anything. Your go-between is Agni. You have to approach Agni. You tell Agni, Agni Dev, please, मेरी जो ये request है, take it to this devta and ask him to give me this. And that's why we always have, all our rituals have Agni, all of them. जो हवन होती है ना, उसमें अग्नि होती है, because we are always talking to Agni. And whatever we are giving, basically it's an exchange. We tell the devta, हम आपको ये देंगे, आप उसके बजाय हमको ये दो. So कैसे देते हैं हम? या तो हम अग्नि में डाल देते हैं सीधा, अग्नि में, you can put oblations in the Agni, or you give दान, you do sacrifices, you give दान. मैं इतने लोगों को खाना खिलाऊंगा, 10 दिन के लिए मैं इनको खाना खिलाऊंगा, और 10 दिन के लिए मैं व्रत रखूंगा. These are all things that you are offering to the devta. And you're saying, in return, devta, please give me this. This is always the case. हम जो भी करते हैं, हमेशा we always have a return, if you remember. I remember, one time somebody was sick. So we said, मन्नत रखते हैं, आप उसको ठीक कर दो, मैं 10 दिन के लिए इसका पाठ करूंगा, मृत्युंजय सम पाठ करूंगा मैं, और उस समय मैं कुछ मीट नहीं खाऊंगा, मैं कुछ खाना भी नहीं खाऊंगा, मैं फास्ट करूंगा. Right? You'll see, this is what we are doing. Always we are asking for something from God or from a particular devta, and in return we are doing this. This is our Hinduism, Vedas ka. This has all come from the Ved. Now, at some stage, people said, this is not working. ये this is ये कुछ ठीक नहीं है. ये क्या देना देना इधर उधर, हमारा every time I'm asking for something, it's still putting me in the same line कि मुझे कुछ चाहिए, मुझे कुछ चाहिए, दुख से दूर करो, सुख चाहिए. We are always asking for these external things, but there has to be something more. इसमें बंधन में फंस जाते हो. वेद जो गीता कहती है ना, गीत कहती है, people who are vedavad रतः, people who are enjoined in the Vedas, in the rituals, they are caught in the world. Because they're always saying, मुझे बेटा चाहिए, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे वो चाहिए, and then you are praying to God, मुझे ये चाहिए. That is not proper prayer, because you're giving something, asking for something in return. So the Upanishads, which is also the part of the Ved, they came out later. They are like the end of the Ved, and they say, get away from this law of karma, from this all this rituals. Get away from the rituals. Look for your satisfaction within yourself, not from things that God is going to give you, or this person is going to give you, this is going to give you. That's what they say. but they're talking to the same people who've gone through the Ved. So they are continuing the same language. So in Vedanta, which is Upanishads, you will find still the Devtas and all that because they have to talk to the same people. So they're using the same terms, the same language, but then they will say the main message is look within yourself, find your happiness within yourself. That's the main message. But again, the context, the cultural context is the same. It's the same population, the same group of people, the same people who have been used to Vedas. We've all done these rituals. Shuru se, we have grown up with the rituals. We are comfortable with this language. So they're continuing the same language to make us understand better. That is Vedanta. The heart, the essence of Vedanta doesn't believe in any of this. But in order to make us understand, they use these language, these terms. You follow, Charu?
Yeah, I get it.
So जैसे केन
So,
उपनिषद है, a very nice छोटा सा उपनिषद है, I really like it. उसके 3 हिस्से हैं. पहले हिस्से में
Which one?
केन.
Which
Most Upanishads are like that, but I'm just giving you an example of Kena Upanishad.
Upanishad?
हाँ. So उसमें जो first part of the Kena Upanishad, it only talks about this philosophy. Brahman क्या हो, तुम क्या हो. Very brief, quick. It's always it's done in a way where the people who are ready for it, they can read the first 10% of the Upanishad, get it and go. Right? There's no need for you to waste your time on other things. They're called the Uच्च Adhikari, the Uttam Adhikari, people who are really learned and ready. They can get the gist first. So पहले वो gist देते हैं. So that's like the first part of the Upanishad. But then there's a second part of the Upanishad. And then there's a third part of the Upanishad. That's for people who don't get the gist right away because they're still caught up in all these devtas and all of this. They're totally engrossed in devtas. Unke liye they've created a story. They made a story. And in that story, there's Indradev, and there is Vayuka Dev, and there's Agni Dev, and all these devtas, and there's a Uma, who's the source of knowledge. She comes and gives them, they create the story of how they get humiliated. These devtas get humiliated by something, and then Uma comes and gives them the gyan. So the same thing, which was there in very quick philosophy, just few terse verses in the beginning, is repeated in the end in a long, like story form with all these devtas there and everything. That people can understand. Okay, वो देवता की बातें कर रहे हैं, वो या कुछ होगा. वो देवता ने अच्छा देवता को ऐसे हुआ. Then the same. So it's said for people who are not ready to just listen to the philosophical message yet. So this is everywhere. Even Gita, chapter 2 has everything that Gita, the essence of the Gita is there in chapter 2. You fully understand chapter 2, you don't need to read the rest of the Gita. But Arjun didn't, right? He went through the chapter 2 and he was confused still. So Bhagwan repeated it in another more detail. Then he repeated it again in more greater detail. So this is how all our texts are structured. First, there's a gist. Those who can get it, take it and go. No need for anything more. Then there is more explanation, second round. Then there's a third round, even more explanation, even more details. Same thing. In that third round, there will always be devtas. There will always be Vedas, and there will always be all of these things will be there, because that's what we are. That's where we are. That's what our mind has been completely conditioned into this. सुख के लिए हमको ये चीजें चाहिए. बेटा चाहिए, बहू अच्छी होनी चाहिए, पुत्र उनके बेटे होने चाहिए, वो बेटे पर परंपरा हमारी चलनी चाहिए, पैसा होना चाहिए, दान करना चाहिए. This is how we think. But what we don't see is सुख के लिए अपने आप को शुद्ध हो, अपने आप को देखो, अपने आप को समझो, उससे सुख मिलेगा. ये हम नहीं देखते. ये वेद हमको नहीं बताते. The early part of the Ved, right? Our parents also don't teach us this because they don't know themselves. For getting a full understanding of this, you have to go to to Vedanta. Okay, chalo, it's been a while now. You guys must be sleepy. So we'll go back to the Gita next time.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
All right.
Chalo.
Okay,
Think of your
bye.
question. Okay. Any questions,
Okay.
come up with them next time. We'll talk about them.
Sure.
See you
All
guys.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.